Today I want to continue drilling down into specific natural products and supplement ingredients that have the potential to help with microclots and platelet hyperactivation in long COVID. Remember, the plan here is to try to identify natural products and supplement ingredients that have the same mechanisms of action as the pharmaceutical drugs that make up triple anticoagulant therapy. As a reminder, here are those three drugs and their mechanisms of action. Apixaban is an anticoagulant that inhibits factor Xa. Aspirin is a platelet activation inhibitor which targets the COX-1 and COX-2 enzymes. Clopidogrel is a second platelet activation inhibitor that targets the P2Y1 and P2Y12 receptors. To identify the needed natural products, I first compiled a comprehensive list of compounds to research from the scientific literature, Google, and textbooks from the natural product course that I teach. Here are the comprehensive list that I came up with. Now, keep in mind, these are compounds that are supposed to be anticoagulants or platelet activation inhibitors or quote-unquote blood thinners, but we have to verify that. So the next step in my work was to take each compound and find peer-reviewed scientific literature to confirm whether the compound is an anticoagulant or a platelet activation inhibitor, and if so, what is the specific mechanism of action. Today I want to tell you about the actual anticoagulants that I've identified on this comprehensive list. Remember, we want to identify a natural anticoagulant that acts by a mechanism of action similar to Apixaban in triple anticoagulant therapy, namely inhibition of factor Xa. Now, before we get too far, I want to more precisely define what an anticoagulant actually is. I have a very specific, very narrow definition that's based on scientific mechanisms of action. The scientific definition of an anticoagulant is a pharmaceutical drug or nutraceutical that inhibits one of the enzymatic steps in the coagulation cascade. Here's the diagram of the coagulation cascade, and as you can see, it's pretty complicated. The best anticoagulants inhibit enzymatic steps in the common pathway of the coagulation cascade so that they're effective at preventing clot formation regardless of how the clotting process was initiated. So in trying to identify natural products and supplement ingredients that are anticoagulants, I did literature searches to determine if any of the compounds in the bullet list above inhibited enzymes in the coagulation cascade. Surprisingly, very few natural products or supplement ingredients are true anticoagulants. This was a huge surprise to me personally, because when I began this work and first had the idea of trying to develop a nutraceutical version of triple anticoagulant therapy, the initial thought I had was, I know there's a ton of natural products that are considered anticoagulants, but in reality, many of the natural products and supplement ingredients that are often referred to as anticoagulants are platelet activation or platelet aggregation inhibitors, meaning they don't inhibit enzymes in the coagulation cascade at all. So which compounds on our bullet list are actually anticoagulants? Here's the very short list: turmeric, red clover, and dung quai. And of these, we want to select the one that inhibits the same enzyme as Apixaban in triple anticoagulant therapy, namely factor Xa. Turns out that only one of the natural anticoagulants above inhibits factor Xa, turmeric. So that's the anticoagulant that we're going to use in the natural version of triple anticoagulant therapy to help with long COVID microclots. Using turmeric also has another bonus effect. It's an extremely powerful antioxidant that can help fight the radical oxygen species and oxidative damage to the mitochondria caused by long COVID. So to wrap things up, I want to briefly show you the data demonstrating that turmeric does actually inhibit factor Xa. The active ingredient in turmeric responsible for the anticoagulant, antioxidant, and anti-inflammatory activity is the polyphenol curcumin. The ability of curcumin to inhibit factor Xa enzyme activity was measured in vitro in a chromogenic assay. Curcumin does indeed inhibit factor Xa with an IC50 of 5 micromolar. This is the inhibition data from the publication. For more info on anticoagulants, including more data on curcumin's effect on clotting, visit the link in the comments. And to learn more about the natural version of triple anticoagulant therapy that I'm working on, go to my bio and click the link. Thanks, and see you next time.